Welcome back to the show. I want to talk a little bit about the market, like what I feel right now is happening. Obviously the market has gone rampant. It's like just gone uncontrollable. Everything is pumping. I mean, some things are pumping on average about 5%. Some things are pumping about 20%, right? Some of the coins that we did not expect to pump that fast are pumping as well. But all of that kind of gets me a little bit worried. You know, like, okay, we're moving very fast. I mean, if we do an average of 5 to 10% per day, I'm not too concerned, right? Because that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That means every time we pump, we are creating support. Doesn't matter what time frame you look at, we are constantly creating support and moving forward, right? For example, you can see the dot chart today, right, on my thing. But yesterday I had the Solana chart. I'm giving you the dot chart today, right? But the point is, again, it's on a minute chart. What does it matter? It could pump, it could dump, it doesn't really matter. But you can see an average of 4 point something percent, like, or 4.5% right now. That's showing up, right? It's going to be a bit noisy. I am driving and I do have a whole bunch of stock, a lot of alcohol, a lot of bottles in my boot, so the car might make all sorts of funny noise. Also, I will probably not show you the entire chart. You know, it's a minute chart, right? What's there to see? But I won't show you the entire chart today. But what I will do is I'll probably flip over and go to the camera and show you my face and talk like this, so that way you can see my journey as well a little bit, and then we'll move forward like this. So yes, the market's gone rampant, right? Completely ballistic, right? Everybody's pumping whatever coins they can. We're seeing hundreds of millions of dollars being pumped in. I mean, some coins, the volume that you're seeing is just on another level. I mean, today I saw one particular coin that had like $500 million come out of the blue, right? It wasn't there, it just came out from the blue. Which is pumping. But again, it's a nice top tier coin, so I'm not going to complain too much about it. And it's got a nice market cap of around $3 billion, which is great, right? I always look for coins that have at least $1 billion invested in them. So over 3 billion, I'm okay. You know, $500 million pump, that's nothing. That's a good little margin, good little percentage of the total valuation being pumped today. Nothing unusual and nothing that will worry me or make me panic, but I can see a good future for this particular project. The project is called Celestia. They allow you to easily make blockchains or something like this, right? I've saw the details. I've seen it before. In fact, if I'm correct, I'm not sure if that was the one that I actually done some, you know, on Binance you can go on the launch pad or something. I can't remember if that was the one I did it or not. I can't remember anyway, guys. It's off the top of my head, because half the time I'm not really bothered. I just leave it there and let it do what it does. Not too concerned. But there was some news that came up, but I can't remember what it was anyway, so I'm not going to go too deep into this one, right? There was a brother asked me to talk a little bit about a particular coin called Tau. Honestly, I'm not going to talk about it. Now is not the time to talk about these coins. If they pump, good luck to you. I really don't want to divert people from what's really going on. Any deep dive right now in any of these specific coins, right? Especially the really low cap ones, right? And that's the key. You got to understand this. Really low cap means they have low amount of holders. They're not really well known. Apart from a few influencers who are probably involved already, they're not really out there. So I would caution everybody to kind of avoid them for now, or for this season. You know, if you still want to go and buy some, you know, you got the itch, go and you know, buy some. That's not a problem, right? But I don't want to divert anybody from what the greater market is showing. Now, greater market, when we talk about it, we're talking about coins in the top 50, top 100, right? Top 10, you know, most preferably top 10, excluding any US dollar peg coins, right? That's the kind of stuff we're looking at. So, you know, just bear in mind when you are looking why I'm talking about these top tier ones and not the others, right? Yes, the opportunities and the risk, I mean, the risk is a lot higher. The opportunities are great if they do kick off, right? So you could probably make 100x, right? Happy days. But I'm not dreaming, right? I have my eyes wide open. I'm looking at the charts, and all I'm seeing is overbought, daily overbought, weekly overbought, monthly on some occasion overbought, right? I'm awake, guys. I'm awake, and you know, I can't fall asleep right now, and I cannot be dreaming about what would potentially happen. We talked about hopium and we talked about hope yesterday, and this kind of plays into this as well, right? We cannot hope for anything to do whatever. We now know what some of these coins are already doing, and we need to act on those. That's what's important, right? So, you know, I don't want to make this too long, but that's what I'm feeling, right? So the market is gone crazy, gone ballistic. The fear and greed index is kind of screaming and shouting, look, we're in danger right now. However, and this is the kind of a cherry on the top, right? You know, sometimes you don't want a cherry on the top, especially when it's going to be bad news, but there is some bad news and there is good news at the end of it as well, right? So looking at the chart, some of the maths that I did makes some sense. Makes a little bit of sense to me that something is going to happen before the end of the month, right? At least 10 days before, if not 12 days before the end of the month, we might have a potential correction, right? And that's important to understand, that that's when we're looking at it. Now, this correction could come sooner, right? Could come sooner, but ultimately the cherry on top is that it's actually healthy. Looking at what the market is doing right now, the risk of something serious happening is quite low, right? However, there are a few players in the game that I am worried about, and these are small, unique, like 1 or 2 players in the game. But for example, one of the players in the game is FTX. And when I see FTX and when I see a total market capitalization of about 1.5 or something like volume, $1.5 billion, I'm a bit worried. I'm like, oh no, what's going on here? Isn't this a coin that's supposed to disappear? Isn't this founder just being imprisoned for life or something like this? Thinking to myself, like, what's really going on, right? If this founder's been locked up, he's getting a life sentence or whatever, why are we seeing this particular coin pump? We do know what's going to happen. For example, the liquidators or the current CEO, whatever they've been put there, right? They've been talking about how they want to recover approximately $10 billion or something like this, or probably more. So right now, you've got to be really cautious, in my opinion. That's why I'm not holding any. The very little I had, when they collapsed, I dumped it anyway. So I'm not holding anything. But it doesn't mean that I'm being biased or anything like this. Just being completely transparent with you, what I feel that could happen, right? I feel that if they choose to, they could easily end up taking funds out, right? Profit out. It's like dumping on the people when the price is high, right? So when I see a 20-30% pump, I'm wondering, like, is it a manipulation? What's really going on? Yes, a lot of people have lost money, or is it the people? But where is the volume coming in? Because if people have already lost the money, are they going to really bet on this thing again? And are they going to pump even more money to pump it even further, right? So it's one of those kind of things. I'm like just kind of confused. It doesn't make much of sense to me. So it is what it is, right? I'm not going to say much about that, but that's why I feel that maybe these pumps, a lot of these pumps, look, this is my conspiracy theory, right? Okay, I want to make sure, I want to get this one clear. I feel that whatever's happening right now, a lot of the pump, yes, a lot of retail are definitely pumping the market right now. Retail is definitely pumping, but the pumps are being led by institutions and other big players in the game. So if big players in the game are already have already bought it at the bottom and now are pumping it even further, then in between that you've got the retail. So that's why I'm saying you got to, as a retail, you got to be very, very cautious how you pursue this thing. So my advice to everybody is, look, if you've made a significant amount of profit, like one of your coins has pumped 20%, 25%, 30% today, right? Good luck to you if you've done 30%. But point is if a coin has pumped more than 10, 15%, 20%, take some chips off the table. There's no harm. Believe me, you're not going to regret it. You'll thank me later, right? So try and do that as much as possible. Try and get as much of your profit, initial, whatever. Try and take as much of it as possible off the table. Then you got some dry powder to play with. I mentioned this on Discord yesterday as well for one of the members. So that's very important, guys. That's very important. In fact, if you've noticed, I'm sure if you're going through YouTube right now, watching other crypto YouTubers and whatnot, you'll find that this content here is completely unique, completely different. I'm not here trying to hype the market. I'm not here trying to give FUD for the market. I'm not here reading out news articles, because that's the one thing that I do not follow. I do not look at news articles, right? I look at charts, and charts tell me what's going to happen. That's all it is. I don't need you to know, I'm not going to be sitting here telling you what's already happened. Twitter Spaces explodes. Oh, we're going to have a Bitcoin ETF. BlackRock is going to file for this, or BlackRock's going to file for an Ethereum ETF and whatnot. It's after BlackRock done it. The charts were talking about the numbers way before that. So, end of the day, try and understand that, look, the charts will always lead you, right? And everybody else, smart money, right? Smart money, BlackRock, whoever, they're all into it. They know this, right? They pay people hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, to do the exact same thing I'm doing here right now for you for free. They have analysts sitting there telling them exactly what the chart is telling them to do. The chart says it's going to pump, right? The chart says it's going to pump. It has to pump. This has to happen. And exactly at that time, they come and release a news article or something to pump it even further. That's all they're doing. They're playing with your emotions. Media, you got to be very careful, right? Even myself, I'm media, right? Because at the end of the day, if I'm putting something out on YouTube, be very careful. But the point is you're getting information, maybe a little bit cryptic, because I don't want to say everything directly. For what? For what, right? I'll give you a good example. Earlier on today, someone phoned me and said to me, bro, I said, yeah. He said, I noticed yesterday on the video, you had Solana chart the entire time. But you clearly mentioned that you're probably not going to buy Solana. So was that a signal to buy Solana or not to buy Solana? I said, there was no signal. Honest truthers, there was no signal. The only thing you saw there was Solana. Why? Because Solana was relevant yesterday. Solana was very relevant. But when I talked about probably not buying, probably buying, or buying this or buying that, that was just me talking about a strategy, right? Talking about a strategy. But I'm not telling you what to do. You don't pay me for that. I don't get paid for that, right? I'm not charging you anything. I'm giving you the info. I'm giving you basic, simple strategies for beginners, for complete laymen, right? I'm not trying to use fancy dictionary words here. I'm just giving you some simple technicals, and I'm giving you some simple ideas on how to play the market. A lot of you guys are looking for a 10x, 5x, whatever, right? But you're missing the whole point. If you buy at particular times, right now, you would have been double, like 2x. Now, if people bought Solana when Solana dumped, right? When we talked about Solana, I can't remember whether it was on Discord or something, because there's too many groups I'm involved with, right? Can't remember. But when Solana was around $10, $12, we spoke about this, and we said, good time to buy. Doesn't matter what Solana does, seems to be okay. FTX is gone, Solana still survived, definitely a survivor. They're doing great things. They've got great engineers. They've got great, we talked about all of this, right? So all of the stuff we were giving, even though they had negative connections, we were giving them positive results. Like, this is positive. They don't see anything wrong with that. So if you bought at $10, $12, well, you would have been at $60 today. $60 today, isn't that a 5x? That's 5x. So maybe not your entire portfolio is 5x, but there are some coins out there which have done up to 5x, right? Some of them have done minimum 2x, 3x, 4x. It's already been done. What were you looking for? Another 5x from today? What's wrong with you? By the time you look at a 5x from today, we would have done 10x already from the bottom of the cycle. We've already done that. So please do understand this. Your thinking has to change. If you are thinking of buying today and then probably pumping another 5x, no, your thought process has to be completely different. You have to start looking at the bottom of each cycle, right? When to buy. We mentioned it. Everyone talked about, oh, when's a great time to buy? Well, There was one indicator. Anything below $20,000, you buy. You sell your house, you sell your kidney, you buy. Right? Any BTC below $20,000, you do that. Next season, is it going to be the same? No, it's going to be completely different. It's going to be absolutely different because we don't know what the new market high is going to be, right? So when we see the new market high, whether it be 40K, 45K, 50K, 100K, 102K, 120K, doesn't matter. When we see that number, then we can actually access the charts, look at what this chart has presented us, and then use some mathematical formulas for us to then get the number that we should we might go and test, right? It's a might, always going to be a might, because it's a probability. Because remember, the chart itself is only displaying to you what has happened today to the very last second, right? That means tomorrow, the new 1 second after now doesn't exist. The minute doesn't exist. These are all new candles, right? So for us to give you a number and say, well, when it goes below this number, or when it goes to this number, or if this happens, these are all based on probability. Now, probability, there are two things for probabilities, right? You have a higher probability and a lower probability, right? So probability itself is kind of vague, but to be more specific, you have a higher probability and a lower probability. Based on those, right, we can then say, well, you buy or you sell, right? Very simple. It's one of those kind of things, right? I mean, just a bit ago, I mentioned Bitcoin at 102. Yeah, 102, 120, possible. 102 is what the Fibonacci is telling us. So if the Fibonacci is saying, guys, if you continue with this pump, then the next level for you should be 102. Why not? But that's a massive gap, right? So we also have to use some of our logical thinking as well and say, well, hold on. Bitcoin is pumping 5%, 10%, whatever, right? So now it's doing, for example, if it does a 10% from now, it's 3,700, 10%, that takes us to approximately 42,000. So we look at it that way, right? But when we get to 70,000, 10%, that's 7K. Okay, that's not bad, 77,000. So if we do 10% per day, we can probably get to 102. But we're not going to get from 70 to 102 just like that. No, that's not going to happen. Why? Because you got to look at how much money it requires. So sometimes, yes, the maths is there, but you also need a little bit of logic, right? A little bit of common sense. Common sense. So yeah, I hope that kind of helps, right? So that's what we're looking at BTC anyway. But Ethereum is a little bit more fascinating for me. This season, you probably noticed, I've been always telling people, I said, guys, you can't afford a BTC. Fuck it, don't worry about it, right? Go and buy some Ethereum and just sit on it. Go and buy Ethereum and just sit on it, right? Why? Because I saw something last season. So this is back in 2021, right? Just before the bull market ended. I actually have a live stream or a normal video, I can't remember, but I do have a video on this particular subject where what we did was we were doing Fibonacci lines, right? And kind of doing a Fibonacci projection. And what we did was we were overlaying a Fibonacci on top of a Fibonacci on a space that didn't exist, right? So these candles didn't exist. We were talking about 2024, 2025, 2026, 2028, 2020, 2030, whatever. We were talking about the future. And we were looking at the future probability of what it would do. And this had nothing to do with ETH 2.0. This had nothing to do with ETH burning. This had nothing to do with Ethereum scaling solutions. This had nothing to do with any kind of shitty news that you get in the freaking news. None of that. It was just Fibonacci overlaid on top of each other. And it started flashing numbers, right? And this is before we hit the $4,000 something, almost close to $5,000, whatever it was, right? Can't remember. But this was just before that. And it was quite fascinating because it threw a number around that $5,200 level, right? Did we hit it? Did we not? Doesn't really matter. The next number was around $8,000. The next number jumped to $12,000. Then it jumped to $18,000. Then it jumped to $28,000. $28,000. Now, how many of you have wished you bought a BTC, right, at $1,500? How many of you have wished? I can assure you, many of you, many of you. Because you know those old days of like a few cents for a BTC, a few dollars for a BTC, a few $100 for a BTC. Gone, they're gone, right? So now, all you can wish is buying a BTC below $2,000, $3,000. That's what we wish for. But a lot of you are not going to act on the fact that that's the opportunity you have right now. Am I telling you to buy Ethereum? No. Am I telling you to buy BTC? No. Right? Am I giving you any financial advice? Absolutely not. I'm not your financial advisor. Whatever you want to do, you do yourself, right? It's all up to you. I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice, right? But you wish you bought a BTC below $2,000, $3,000. You wish you had a $1,500 BTC. Well, Ethereum is BTC 2.0, and it's the second cryptocurrency, and it's the first ever, right, supercomputer, because that's what it is. Ethereum is a supercomputer. Are you not seeing the bigger picture? If you're not, I'm not Picasso. I'm not going to put myself in a bloody museum, right? I don't know, man. I don't know. This video is not going to be in a museum, right? But the truth is a lot of people just need to open their eyes, right? You open your eyes, see what the market is, right? Stop dreaming. Keep your eyes open. Stop dreaming. It's really important. By the way, this camera is zooming in and out. It's a new function on the thing. I don't know what it is, but it's quite cool. I'm not doing anything, by the way. The camera is doing everything automatically, trying to keep me in whatever. Anyway, why are we talking about cameras? I don't know. Let's go back to crypto. So when you look at some of these coins, like for me, when I look at Polkadot, I've been very bullish on Polkadot for a very long time. And I've rode like the dot pump all the way to the top. I actually bought near to the top as well, so I was so bullish. I bought near to the top, and I did some maths, and I was like, the bottom amount and the top amount, my average is this. I can't remember what it was, but there's an average that I had, and it was okay. Until recently, when we had the little bit of a dip, it dipped all the way down, and the first time in my owning DOT, I was actually negative in DOT. I was negative, I think it was 15%. So my entire average buying cost was negative by 15%. Can you imagine that? From day one of DOT to the market high of DOT to now the bottom of the bear market, right? The start of a bull market, I was 15% down. So I just left it. I said, well, what am I going to do? Leave it. Can't be bothered, right? I'm down. So what? Market's going to come. I'm just hodling. Pretty much simple as that. I just kept hodling. But I've always said to people, I said, think about this. If you had the opportunity to buy Ethereum, so just similar way when I said about BTC, if you had the opportunity of buying Ethereum, like I did, I had an opportunity to buy Ethereum at $2, $3, $8, $9. $8 was the last time when someone actually said to me, why don't you just buy something, just chuck it and leave it, forget about it. And I didn't listen to them. I said, well, it doesn't make any sense to me. And it's true, it didn't make any sense to me. And I always say, don't buy something that doesn't make sense to you. It has to make sense to you. Eventually, when Ethereum did make sense to me, it was around $80, $90. It made sense to me, right? So I jumped in. But when I saw Polkadot, when I saw Cardano, when I saw who they are, who's building it, what they intended to do, you know, and many other blockchains similar like that, I kept on thinking to myself, well, is this Ethereum literally knocking on my door again, but at a lower price for me? So maybe it was meant to be. I wasn't supposed to buy Ethereum at $2, at $8. I wasn't supposed to buy it because I didn't understand it. But maybe now I'm supposed to buy these coins at a few cents, right? Few cents, few dollars, right? Maybe this was the call. The call is that your time isn't here right now. Back in 2016, 2015, 2016, 2017, right? 2018, 2019, for fuck's sake, we were buying the whole time, right? Buying and selling the whole time. It wasn't my time. It wasn't my calling, right? Maybe now is my calling. Now is the time, right, for me to pick some of these new Ethereums. Let's just call them Ethereums. Maybe now is the time for me to start buying into these. And that's why I'm looking at small coins, like recent new blockchains. Not much of a hype, right? You know, some of them go over the top, right? None of that, because too much hype means complete death for a project, because they die faster than the hype starts, right? So I've got a feeling basically some of these coins out there, which are pennies right now, right? They might have a better potential. Now, of course, when I talk about better potential, there's a difference, right? So there are coins out there where I would not risk more than $50, $100, because to me, they're just shit coins. Or just trying to be something, right? And I just don't want to take the risk. But then there are other coins where I'll be like, maybe I should put 500, maybe I should put 1,000, maybe I should put 2,000, 3,000, 10,000, because I see the potential, right? I see the potential. I see what the probability of these coins are. I see a coin today at 10 cents, right? Or 10p, whatever you call it, right? Has the potential to go to $6, $7. $6, $7 from 10p. Do you understand what that means? Does anybody understand what that means? So I see that potential, because for me, this is like Ethereum at $8, right? This is like BTC at $200. That's how I'm looking at this. Anyway, I think I've given enough ideas, but as I said, guys, this is not a financial advice. Please understand this. Whatever I say here is purely for entertainment, always for entertainment. But other than that, like, share, subscribe, and let me catch you on another one very soon. I'm almost to my destination. I want to have a few puffs on my little vape. But yeah, I'll see you on another one very soon. Adios, my amigos.